breaking news. Matilda's star, Sam Kerr, has fronted court in London and will now face trial accused of racially abusing a UK police officer.
Let's go live to Nine's Europe correspondent Jessica Millwood with the story for us. Jess, good morning to you. The trial is locked in for next month.
Good morning, guys. February 3, that's right. Today was an abuse of process hearing with Sam Kerr's lawyers fighting to have this case thrown out. It relates to that incident in January 2023 in Twickenham when the Matildas and Chelsea star is accused of racially aggravated harassment of a UK police officer. The officer was called to Twickenham after there was a confrontation between Kerr and a taxi driver. It took police 12 months to charge her, and that argument was central today for Kerr's lawyers in this hearing. But the trial will go ahead next month. Kerr has already indicated that she's going to plead not guilty. There is body camera vision of the incident that is likely to be played at the trial. She remained silent at Kingston Crown Court today. Take a look.
Are you disappointed the trial's going ahead, Sam?
Don't push me.
How are you feeling?
Don't push me. What's that body on camera footage that shows?
How do you feel about racism, Sam?
Do you have anything to say?
Do you regret that night out?
It's been a tough 12 months for Sam Kerr, as well as these charges coming out. She has been recovering from an ACL injury that forced her to miss the Olympics. On a brighter note, though, she and her fiancé have announced that they are expecting a baby. While preparing for that, she'll now also be preparing to face this trial, February 3. Guys?
Bit on, Jess. Thank you.
A 13-year-old boy accused of stabbing a Coles duty manager is unlikely to face adult crime, adult time penalties if convicted after he was charged with attempted murder. Live now to Today Queensland reporter Andrea Crothers in Ipswich. Andrea, there is a major loophole in these new laws.
Jane, this is an embarrassing loophole. These laws were the centrepiece of David Crisafulli's election campaign. They were what really got him elected here, and also something that he's been pushing so hard on, because there are 13 serious crimes that fall under these laws where youths will be treated as adult offenders. They include murder, manslaughter, break and enter, unlawful wounding, burglary. But one heinous crime it doesn't include is attempted murder. That's despite it being pointed out by a crossbench MP during parliamentary debate before they were pushed through ahead of Christmas. So what that means is this 13-year-old accused of stabbing and the attempted murder of a Coles worker won't actually fall under these laws. The Premier on the defence yesterday.
Changes into the future that make a stronger system won't just be considered, they're going to be actively pushed. There will be more changes to the Youth Justice Act. Many more.
We'll now have to wait for that expert legal panel to be formed to consider any changes to those laws to occur. Jane.
Andrea, thank you. Now to the United States, where firefighters are bracing for dangerous winds yet again on the 8th day of the wildfire crisis in Los Angeles. Live now to Nine's US correspondent Jonathan Kersley in the Pacific Palisades. Jono, authorities say those winds could peak in just a few hours.
This afternoon into this evening, wind gusts could get to 110 kilometres an hour. That is less than what they were when this fire started a week ago, but it is still a sign that Los Angeles is not. Another sign was a fire breaking out last night to the west of where we are at Oxnard. It didn't cause evacuation orders and it didn't burn homes, but what it did show is the high alert that authorities are on here. It burnt quickly, it burnt hard, but firefighters were able to get a handle on it. Today, they are warning people to remain vigilant. There are thousands of firefighters across these areas. They have been doing a huge amount of work containing this fire and the Eaton fire to the north of Los Angeles County. And today they're saying to people, be alert, be ready to go if you have to go. The LA Mayor, Karen Bass, has been over this area in a helicopter with the fire chief of Los Angeles City to see the damage for themselves from the air firsthand, and this is some of what they had to say earlier today.
We did an aerial tour, and I was able to see, it's one thing to see it on television, it's another thing to see it from air. The massive, massive destruction is unimaginable. Firefighters who've been on the job for 25, 30 years to say to me that in their entire careers, they have never seen destruction like this.
So authorities are trying to avoid a repeat of conditions like we have seen here and right across the Pacific Palisades, where it is just decimation across so many streets. So yes, conditions are expected to worsen this afternoon. Those warnings remain in place until tomorrow. But Jane, there is a sign of good news. Some reprieve on the way later in the week, lower winds, a chance maybe for people here to breathe a sigh of relief. And there's been thanks too for the firefighters. So many of them have been out over these zones over the course of the last week. Among those paying their gratitude and thanks, television personality Jay Leno offering to help feed an army of men and women who have been working around the clock to try and bring this area under control. But people told here they're not out of the woods yet.
OK, Jono, thank you. There are grave concerns for the Australian man captured by Russian forces late last year after reports that he has been killed. Oscar Jenkins from Melbourne was a teacher who joined Ukraine's Foreign Legion to fight on the front lines. The Department of Foreign Affairs says it is now making urgent inquiries. We have some breaking news now from the United Kingdom. Kate Middleton has just confirmed that her cancer is now in remission. In an emotional statement, she says, "It is a relief to now be in remission and I remain focused on recovery." As anyone who has experienced a cancer diagnosis will know, it takes time to adjust to a new normal. I am, however, looking forward to a fulfilling year ahead. There is much to look forward to. Thank you to everyone for your continued support. The post came after the Princess made a surprise visit to the Royal Marsden Hospital where she was treated. Nine's Europe correspondent Edward Godfrey has more on that visit.
The Princess of Wales will always have a strong connection to the Royal Marsden Hospital here in Chelsea, and now that will continue in an official capacity too. The Princess making a visit to thank staff who looked after her during her cancer treatment. It's previously not been confirmed where that had been occurring. While here, Kate also met with patients undergoing cancer treatment.
There's so many types of cancers. The treatments also vary, so different. It impacts families differently, patients' recovery is so different.
A Kensington Palace spokesperson saying she wanted to show her gratitude but also highlight the world-leading care the hospital provides. It's almost a year since the Princess's cancer diagnosis was revealed and she began preventative chemotherapy. That followed abdominal surgery last January at the London clinic not far from here. The visit coinciding with the announcement she and Prince William are now joint patrons of the Royal Marsden Hospital's Foundation Trust. Prince William has been the hospital's president since 2007. This is another major step in the Princess's return to full-time duties.
A council worker is lucky to be alive after a luxury home collapsed during a landslide at Victoria's Mornington Peninsula. Live to Today Melbourne reporter Christine Ahern, who's at Macrae for us. Christine, the owner has spoken out.
Well, Jane, we have actually spoken to the owner of this property. He says he's just grateful that nobody was killed and his thoughts are with that injured council worker. It was yesterday morning when this three-storey home came crashing down the cliff here in Macrae on the Mornington Peninsula in a landslide. Now, that council worker happened to be inspecting the property at the time. That man in his 50s had to jump for his life. He is currently in the Frankston Hospital after sustaining lower body injuries. The homeowner, Nick Moran, has revealed that he moved his family out of the holiday home last week after an initial 30-tonne landslip he claims narrowly missed his wife and daughter. That is why the council worker was there inspecting the property when the ground gave way beneath him. Here's what witnesses had to tell us.
He was just there, and next minute he was sliding down the hill and he just jumped. He dived off and I think he probably shattered his legs and his pelvis and everything.
It seems that the land behind it is what slid onto the house and then pushed the house to flick forward.
Around 7 other properties have also had to be evacuated. You can see Point Nepean Road is closed in both directions and will remain closed for some time as investigations get underway as to how this all happened. Jane.
OK, Christine, thank you.